You know, Jeffrey,
Yes.
I don't want to be a school teacher.
You don't?
No, taking care of the little children, rubbing their little noses with their snot in the wintertime.
You're right, Dave. I can feel it. I don't want to be a computer consultant anymore. Wiping the noses of all of my clients because they don't know which mouse button to click. I've had it.
It's a ridiculous life. What is it you'd rather do all day, Jeff?
Well, I'd rather play ASL.
I'd rather play ASL too. West of Alamein.
Kota Bushido.
Paratrooper.
Armies of Oblivion.
That's what we'd like to do all day.
I play ASL and I'm okay. I play all night, then I play all day.
I move my troops, I rally well. I file my Panzerfausties when opponents get too cocky. I bombard them all to hell.
I play ASL and I'm okay. I play all night, then I play all day. I rally well, I shoot big guns, I blitz my tanks a lot. And if there's too much open, I lay the smoke I've got. I play ASL and I'm alright. I play all day, then I play all night.
I shoot big guns, machine guns get raked, and often just for fun. I'll play in Frenchman's clothing and surrender on turn one.
Ooh. I play ASL and I'm okay. I play all night, then I play all day. Are we on?
Hello, everybody.
Oh, are we on? How do we know?
Well, this is take two.
Yes, it is.
So if any of you are wondering why there was only one show last month, Jeff screwed up.
I did.
It was Jeff.
We had a technical difficulty here in the broadcast foxhole. And actually, considering we've had 320 odd shows, and most of them were odd, we've never had this kind of screw up. I'd say that's pretty good.
No, we had one where we lost a segment.
We lost a segment.
Audio or something.
This one, we lost the whole show. We forgot to press.
Jeff, who?
I'm not going to blame it on you. It's so easy to do, Dave.
Yeah, but I will take the blame.
Well, and we're still in a new surrounding, kind of. We're still kind of getting used to this broadcast foxhole till we move back to mine, whenever that will be. And
normally I mute at Jeff's house.
Yeah.
Because there's feedback.
Yeah. So you were muted, and so you could see us talking, but you would have to be able to read lips, yes, which is very hard to do if you're just listening.
And Jeff suggested maybe we just try to record an audio and try to match our lips.
Overdub. That would have been very funny for us, not for anybody else.
But once you got into the real content,
yeah,
if there was any.
And it's too bad. It was a great show.
It was.
I tell you what, we were on our best behavior and a lot of good content there. So we're going to try to recreate that magic moment.
Because we're going to at least do all the great parts again.
This magic moment
is going to be today on the show. You're going to hear some letters.
Yes.
Contest announced.
Hot
a
dang.
Small banner and a look at the LFT part 1 of LFT number
15.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, 15.
First half, second half, next show.
And we want to remind people right out of the gate that this show is brought to you in part by generous donations from Bounding Fire Productions, a long time and much beloved sponsor of the show, and we appreciate their continuing support. And we encourage you to go to boundingfire.com.
Indeed.
And look for all the goodies there. You can get lots of all the LFT stuff there, and just great stuff from Bounding Fire. It's a great spot to go and spend some money. You know it's burning in your pocket, burning a hole. Don't let that happen.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of, Dave and I are playing another scenario from the Neptune. So we'll get to that.
Yes.
Maybe next show or third show after this.
Okay.
We'll take another look at that.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear that.
In the meantime, this is the Two Half Squads.
The one and only podcast dedicated 100% to the greatest game in the world, Advanced Squad Leader.
I'm Dave.
I'm Jeff. And once again, we're taking you on a magical mystery tour. So some time has passed since we last did this show. And we thought I was leaving for the fishing trip right after that show, a couple of days after. And so we thought, well, maybe we'll record the show while I'm up north. So I took all these maps and stuff with me, like I needed more stuff to carry. And then we didn't.
No.
But that was fine.
Yes.
It was a nice fishing trip.
Yeah.
Why? Good time.
Yeah. Why break up a fishing trip with attempting to record a show?
Right.
Re-record a show.
Yeah. So we'll jump right in. Or will we talk about what you've been up to lately? Did you have something you wanted to?
I would like to mention the miniatures. No, what's it called? Toy Soldier Show.
The Toy Soldier Convention?
1 day show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just Sunday.
In Schaumburg. Yep.
A lot of old guys. Lots of, it's for the toy soldier collectors, right?
I guess.
And they got, and they're selling their wares and they're collectors and they're displaying. And so, it was a bunch of older guys and lots of cool old toys if you like them. But I had a certain one I was looking for, was going to tell Mike about. And now I have them somewhere in this basement, but I couldn't find them for the show. But here is a similar type of toy soldier I had in the 70s, 60s. And look, you can turn them and change the pose. So this Native American is pretty cool. You can snap off the headdress and the head. So you can behead them and have the headless horseman. Right.
Very handy.
But see, the goal, you can change the necklaces. You can change the accoutrements.
Accoutrement.
And how cool was this going from your green toy soldiers, from Toy Story?
So this is, and I don't remember these. So, and for people that are listening and not watching, Dave is holding up a toy soldier. It's about 3 inches tall. Yep. It's not a soldier. Plastic. It's a Native American on horseback.
Yep. It's really just, but this one says transogram.
Is that Big Ben? Yeah.
That's Big Ben. We're in London.
Yeah.
Transogram made in Hong Kong.
Okay.
But that wasn't the Knights. I had the Knights. These were cool. They were cool. The Cowboys, I had a set of.
So you had these?
F Troop. Yeah. These were my toys.
Oh, okay.
F Troop and these natives.
Is this one still from your collection from the 70s?
That's from,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it hasn't decayed too much.
No.
Some of them were starting to break.
Yeah, I would imagine the plastic gets brittle after a while.
But the cool ones were these Knights. And they're somewhere in the basement, but a guy had them. So I'll put a picture up on the podcast and maybe a link. Britain's Swoppet Knights. And you can see they also had then the crest came off, the colored thing on the horses, was also removable. And you could pull the sword from the scabbard.
Really?
Yes. And they had the cool scabbards painted in this red and white stripes. And that little sword could come right out of there. So were these not the coolest toys you ever could imagine?
Very cool. And why don't I remember these at all?
Because they were expensive. I think they were only at Marshall Fields.
Oh.
Right? There weren't going to be a Ben Franklin with your regular kinds of one color toys. So then as we're leaving, I couldn't find these anywhere. And as we're leaving, there's two guys at a booth with them. I'm like, these are the toys. I want to show these to my friend. I had these as a kid. And so they wrote this book and they signed it.
Oh, that's nice.
But I'm like, this is going to be some of my podcast money, Jeff.
And did you notice, are these vendors from just around Chicago area, do you think?
No,
It's-
Michigan,
yeah, coming from all
maybe,
over.
yeah, further than the tri-states.
I never knew about this whole thing.
No, and I think you wouldn't want to go every year. It's not like the little wars where you're gaming and stuff. But if we talk to guys, a couple people, they're very anxious to talk to you and show you their stuff and
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
reminisce. And I also saw these little longhorn cattle that I had. I'm like, wait, I had those, Mike. I had those things. He described a Foot Locker you ordered from the comic book.
Well, I remember the Foot Locker. It was like 99 cents for 300 soldiers. I mean, it was something ridiculous. I actually could look at some old comic books and see.
Yes.
I never bought those. Did you ever buy those?
No, but he did.
Oh, he did.
He did. They're flat soldiers.
No, no, no.
So it's a good,
Oh my gosh.
it's a good thing you never bought them.
Oh my gosh.
That's how you get. He said it arrived and it was this little Foot Locker. You thought it was going to be this
Yeah, you
big
shot
Foot
it.
Locker
Yes.
with all these green army men.
Yeah.
The full plastic 3D. That's what.
Oh my gosh,
they weren't-
that is hilarious.
They weren't paper. He said, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but yeah. And I said, so it's kind of like getting the sea monkeys.
Yes.
The drawing shows the female sea monkey
Yeah.
and the male sea monkey, and you're kind of like, I'm gonna get some sea monkeys,
They don't look, yeah.
and they're brine shrimp.
Well, I imagine it's also like the X-ray specs.
Yeah,
You remember
yeah.
those where the guy's looking at his hand and like you could see the bones through it?
Yeah.
I never ordered those, but I wonder what that was like.
We did.
You did.
My brother did. He
Oh.
ordered the X-ray. So it simply is like covered with this, like looking through nylon hosiery,
Oh,
and then it kind of just made the middle of the finger darker and diffused the light around things.
unbelievable.
So your hand, diffusion around it. So
Unbelievable.
maybe that's the bone.
I wonder how much money they made off of that stuff back in those days. That's hilarious.
Yes, sir.
Well, there'd be a lot more ASL stuff sold if we were to, for instance, advertise something. And then when they get it, they open up the box and it's actually just like these flat cardboard pieces that you have to punch out yourself
And then trim the corners
and
on it?
trim the corners off.
Oh.
Yeah. And the
It-
whole thing is just flat. And then they have like these maps that are
Oh.
just flat cardboard paper, cardboard
Oh,
stuff.
I would hate that.
That would be awful.
That'd be terrible.
I wouldn't spend my money on that.
Who would buy that?
Nobody.
You think you're getting like a World War II game
Yeah.
with terrain,
Yeah. Tanks.
toy soldiers, and wind up tanks.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you went. I'm sorry I couldn't go. That's this. I was disappointed that I couldn't see that, but and you won't be going next year. So
Well, if you really want to go, I could spare an hour,
okay.
$10 to get in. That music means it's time for letters.
Letters.
First of all, we'd like to thank Jeff Coward, Greg Kane, Isaac Wyneth, Don Trump, Chris Brown, Eric Top, Andrea Carlson, Dennis LeClaire, Steve Schleberg, Jack Brown, Sam Tyson, and Klaus Hermans for their continued Patreon support.
Love you guys. Love you. If you were here, I'd plant a big one on you.
So it's a good thing you're not here.
Yeah. Thanks to Rich Strickland, Kenemian Arteus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Matthew Root and Prester John. Thank you for subscribing to us on YouTube. You make our life a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. They go up to 450.
Yeah. We're almost to 10,000.
Yep. Half 1/10.
Yeah. 1/20th
of the way there. Well, I have a letter from Lloyd Bonagura. I am reading the revamped version of John Russell book called There's the Strife, about the battles in April 1945 between the British versus the Kriegsmarine and SS. Wish I could find the time on target scenarios for this. Slowly catching up on the podcast. Love it, Dave and Jeff. Thanks, Lloyd. So if anyone out there has access to those time on targets or wants to donate them, we'll get them to Lloyd. Let us know.
Yeah. Got one here from Wardrobe, who says Southern California playing every week is amazing. Now, he's referring to the episode we did a couple episodes ago with Jim Akins from the Southern California group. And he says, I'm sure the population isn't there every week just due to the size of Southern California. We pause here for laughter. But still, that's amazing. So I suppose a small campaign game or historical ASL would be tough. Although I suppose there are smaller scenarios on those maps.
Yes, and there are.
There are.
So, yeah, good interviews. If you haven't heard them, go back and do so.
Yeah.
I have a letter here. Just wanted to pass along my thanks for the recent episodes of the national capabilities, though these are often based on stereotypes. They are a key part of the system, including the Korean War ASL squad types. I come close to 100 different squads just in MMP modules. Maybe I didn't copy that properly. This does not include historical ASL units, assault engineer variants, or the special case. Oh, yeah. He's saying that there's that number of variety of different units. Wow. Could be.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah. This does not include historical units, assault engineer variants, or special capabilities that, for example, some Commonwealth or Allied minor units have. And it doesn't include the squad types in third-party products. And that the system encompasses all of this is amazing. As an errata, he notes that Ethiopians can do human wave.
Okay.
We talked about on the other show.
Yes, right.
Keep up the good work, and I hope to see more coverage of the Korean rules, unit capabilities, and so on as we go along. From Preston.
That'll be coming up. Got one here from David Nichols. Jeff, Illinois has a naval base for the same reason Hawaii has an interstate highway. And trusting Jim's memory of what he played last week is taking your life in your hands. He's notorious. So he's referring to my mention that the naval base here in the North Shore does not have any ships in it, though somebody did hear about that and they sent us a letter.
That's coming up at the end.
We'll follow up with that in just a little bit, so stay tuned.
Yep. Also, then Anonymous said that he heard they moved the U-505 into the museum because it needed a new subfloor. That's at the Field Museum, moving the submarine in there. And of course, there are no boats or ships at the Great Lakes Naval Air Station. That's where the Navy stores all its air. Thus the name Air Station. Duh. Anonymous.
I think we know who that is. I think we all can safely think that's Dennis Donovan.
I would bet.
Probably. We'll give him the credit. Hello, guys. Your recent mention of the Great Lakes Naval Station reminded me that during World War II, 2 aircraft carriers operated out of Chicago for naval pilot training. Training in Lake Michigan was preferred because training programs on either coast or in the Gulf of Mexico would be too vulnerable to enemy submarine attack. Then he includes some links. He says, follow the first link to the Palatine Library System copy of Heroes on Deck, a PBS video about the carriers, and over 100 World War II airplanes at the bottom of Lake Michigan. Now, that I didn't know. I suppose I could have done a little research myself, but this is so much easier.
It is.
Let the listeners do the research after the fact. The Dauntless SBD aircraft displayed in Chicago's Midway Airport was recovered from Lake Michigan and restored. I was amazed when I saw this video a few years ago. Enjoy. Rick from Milwaukee. Thanks, Rick, for sending that. We will include that link in the show so everybody can go and enjoy that.
We'll link them up. And that is letters.
Thanks, everybody, for writing in. Keep them coming. Dave, it's time to give away some stuff.
Yeah, let's give away some stuff. How about Schwerpunkt Volume 6 and SoCal's ASL's Melee Pack 1 in honor of our interview with Jamaicans.
Okay.
We'll put both of these into one envelope and we'll ship them out to the lucky winner.
So help everybody get together here. Let's help Dave get his basement cleared out a little bit so he can find the rest of his toy soldiers. We've got some wonderful extra ASL scenarios here that we would like to pass along to y'all. So, in order to enter this contest, all you have to do is send us an email with, let's see, what should they put in the title?
2-for-1 deal.
Great. 2-for-1. You can spell it any way you want.
You can in the header, and
We'll enter you in the contest.
we will, but do that by October
15th.
15.
Okay.
And we'll record the new show the 16th and
Okay.
post it the 17th.
All right. So October 15th.
15th. Get her done.
Get it and get some good prizes. And we have more prizes coming up on all the shows. So
We do.
go ahead and
We do.
don't hold back. We got plenty.
It's time for rules. You need the rules to play the game and put your opponents to shame. They might seem hard, but that's okay. We're gonna learn them anyway. Rules.
Say, okay, today on Rules, Jeffrey, we're looking at the British. Are you ready?
I am ready. Hot dang.
Do British troops also encompass all Commonwealth, Free French, and other liberated forces?
No. Yes.
Yes, they do.
Oh.
In the original ASL, British.
No, they
box.
don't. Wait a minute.
Yep. If you play the Free French, you're just using British counters. If you're using the Free Polish Army, you're using British counters.
Oh, and if you play the Australians?
British counters. If
Okay.
you're playing the
Whoever.
Gurkhas,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Now, you're probably thinking, but wait, haven't I lately seen some Free French counters and
Well,
some Gurkhas and third-party products?
Yes. Okay.
You have.
Okay.
Should guardsmen and Gurkhas generally be regarded as elite troops?
I'm going to say yes.
You are correct.
Those Gurkhas are tough hombres.
They're kukri knives.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
I don't know.
Kukri?
I've never bothered to pronounce it. I always just see it in print.
Yeah. And what does ANZAC stand for in the British rules?
Australia and New Zealand
Correct.
and Tasmania.
And
They forgot the T.
they did forget the T.
Yeah.
Are those troops generally to be regarded as elites?
Let's see. Are Australians elite?
And New Zealanders too?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Should the
Glad I got that right. I don't want a bunch
Yeah, I
of
know.
really upset Australians knocking on my door.
we could have had a lot of letters for next show.
Yeah.
Should the German conscripts be generally regarded as elite?
No.
No is correct.
Yes.
How about Free French and Polish forces?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes.
And the way I was kind of thinking of it, well, they're guys who survived the initial invasions of their country,
Right.
sought out to fight somewhere else with the British to organize them or anywhere else to continue the fight. They're probably elite.
Yes.
Normally, right? Not that you couldn't have some first line, whatever, but should Canadians be regarded as elite?
I don't want to upset the Canadians.
Oh,
I'm just going to say, you know what? This is year 2023. You're all elite
Everyone's
to me.
elite.
You're all elite. Every one of you.
Yeah, so the Canadians are also, and I don't know historically why. I'm sure it's in Steve Swan's article on Canadian forces back in the journal or annual, or the general magazine even. But I know I've read all about how these troops are recruited.
Yeah.
But the Canadians going again overseas, probably a little more gung ho to go. I don't think they were all into conscription.
Right.
And especially the beginning of the war.
Right.
If ever. I don't think ever. I wrote the reason here because all of them are composed of volunteers rather than draftees. So we just guessed it. We just guessed it. What is actually correct? It's from the rule book. Should colonial troops such as the King's African Rifles and pre-1944 Indian troops in India and Burma generally be regarded as elite troops? Prepare for letters.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll pretend yes.
Oh, we'll pretend yes, but it's no.
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
no.
Oh, interesting.
Now, no offense, but these are not British, they're not all
They probably
molly.
didn't have the training and
Well,
all that in place.
and they're in colonial
Yeah, colonial, right,
areas.
right.
Who's gonna probably someone like it's just a job for
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
appease the colonial empire. Some were probably into it, but should they be considered as second line troops represented by 447 squads usually?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Do the Indian colonial troops, elephant riders, do they get to use the stampede rules in ASL?
Oh, yes.
Correct. And what about the trampoline rules?
The trampoline rules.
No, no,
Yes. I think
trampoline.
trampoline. Oh, you know, I'm I am forever marked by the days way back when you tried to convince me, and you really did, that the British would take tea time, and that was written into that was just a part of the nationality thing.
Yes, I do recall.
Yeah. And so I'm always wary of being led astray by you. So the trampoline rules, yes, it's good until your back starts to hurt. So you don't want to do it.
Have you ever seen an elephant jump on a trampoline?
No, I bet that's fun.
Trampoline.
Oh, trampoline rules.
Yeah. If they run over a squad,
Oh
do they
man,
get an extra +2?
No,
On an overrun chart?
no.
No, sadly there are no elephant riders in ASL rule.
Yeah.
Well, rule 25.41 is about the British green troops. These are 436 squads, and they're green. They're considered conscripts only in a hypothetical scenario depicting the British Home Guard or poor quality colonial troops.
Oh,
so remember, the Germans never invaded
Operation
Sea Lion.
Yeah,
Britain.
right.
So if you wanted to have a scenario in London, say the Germans were fighting through the streets, you could do that. Yes, otherwise the 436 are green troops. You can tell because they're different color green than the brown of the regular British.
I thought that was tea stains.
Airborne 648 squads representing airborne. Do they have an ELR of 5?
Yes, they do.
They do,
which is wonderful.
It is. And regardless of the other ELR of other British units in the scenario too. Yeah. Some other ones, elite can have a ELR of 3. These guys are always 5.
Okay.
Gurkha 25.43. Were Gurkha troops feared in close combat due to their handiwork with their famed knitting needles, or for their kukri knives?
The kukri knives. Yes.
That is correct. And those were a combination of a knife hatchet kind of sword thing.
Yeah. I've never held one, but I'd like to get one.
Me too. I'd like to chop somebody up with one.
Okay, that's weird.
May they, when the Gurkha jump into your hex, may they call hand-to-hand combat?
Yes.
They may. Mm-hmm. Whenever
they have to say may I, though.
They do. Whenever greater than or one unbroken Gurkha infantry unit is the attacker in CC or melee, or ambushes the enemy in CC, that CC melee may become a hand-to-hand at the option of the Gurkha player, unless every such Gurkha unit participating in it was ambushed in that phase and or is withdrawing or pinned. Sounds familiar? It's the very same sentence they use with Japan. Anyone that has this ability.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I kind of noticed. Like that's how they phrase it with each nationality, to be very clear about it. Question: can their hand-to-hand close combat be used versus a vehicle or a pillbox?
No. That would be silly.
It would be silly. How about passengers, riders, crew?
Yes.
Can they jump up on the tank and call that one? No, they can't either.
Huh?
Nope. each
Let's say they can.
it is cool.
We'll just throw the whole ASL world into a tizzy. We'll start spreading disinformation or misinformation.
You can't even jump on to
No,
passengers,
you
riders.
can't, yeah, I don't think you can. That's right. Yeah,
You have to climb up on the tank, and
that's never happened.
I don't know. Are hand-to-hand counters provided in the game Code of Bushido?
No,
Yes, they are.
no, they're not.
Yes,
Are they
they are.
really?
Yes.
I thought they came later.
No, hand-to-hand.
Huh?
Because it's Japanese.
Yeah.
Are,
I don't remember the counters coming with that.
are,
Yeah. Okay.
Are Gurkhas considered commandos?
Yes.
Yes, unless they're green, which they shouldn't be. Will Gurkhas surrender via the route phase method?
No.
No. Will they become disrupted?
No.
No, they will not. Are good order Anzacs stealthy or lax?
Stealthy.
Stealthy is correct, unless green. British troops, they were renowned for their marksmanship, Jeff, and calmness under fire, or moral fiber, as they termed it.
Yes, quite.
I think it's my favorite phrase from the whole rule book. Moral fiber, as they termed it. Therefore, their elite and first line units are immune to what effects?
Cowering.
Correct. Rule 25.46. WP. WP stands for what?
White phosphorus.
Correct. A British squad may place only normal smoke grenades prior to 1944, but beginning in 1944, they may place white phosphorus. Does this restriction apply to ordnance white phosphorus ammo?
Oh my gosh.
Shooting it from a giant cannon or
I get
or just the infantry?
I think just the infantry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Man, you are batting like.
Yeah, I think they were supplied.
Well, that would get us to the French, but I think with these great maps, we probably should hold off on the French for the next rule segment.
Okay. And maybe we should do something special when we're doing the French. Bring some French food or something.
In accents?
No, no, please. If we stuff our mouths with enough crepe Suzette, we won't make people suffer through our poor French accents.
Well, then it's time for
what is in a debaxa?
What is in a debaxa? LFT.
LFT journal or number 15. Always exciting to get an LFT product. I love it.
Always. Indeed.
Great stuff.
Now, where did we start with this last time we recorded?
Yeah.
I think with the maps. Yes, yes.
Well, what's the basis? What's the theme?
Well, it is 8 new desert maps, DTO and prisoners explained, and a bunch of scenarios. So the components were these maps and these scenarios. So next show, I'll record a deep dive into the scenarios. So it's not ultra boring.
So, and I haven't had a chance to look at this yet, but I have looked at the maps. So is the idea here that not all desert was just empty sand dunes and flatness like we've seen in all of the desert maps from King and Country?
Yes, indeed.
So, and I'm glad that they have fixed this flaw that's been going on for so long.
Yes, and to get these map concepts down, you can read the article by Steve Swan.
Thank you, Steve.
Interviewed on the Two Half Squad. He says, way back in the 90s, when he was studying the Chaco War and intrigued by the terrain as described in the various battle reports, books, and magazines, on search through all the ASL maps published at the time, he was disappointed by the lack of arid terrain maps.
Chaco War.
Yeah, remember he mentioned
Isn't that South America?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah. He was studying it. He told us he was working on something special.
Oh, okay.
And part of that is this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think he said LFT was going to publish it, I think.
Yeah.
And there's still more to go with it that he wants to get done. But for this, then we'll look at the maps. LFT3. Is that right? You don't have a one.
So
or
I
two?
will hold up the maps, and for you people driving, just pull over and gaze intently into your radio.
Yeah. Which you don't, well, because we're going to describe them.
Oh, okay.
Bring them to life.
So once you see these, you're not even going to believe they're called desert maps because they're so different from anything that you've seen before, because there's lots of stuff on these maps. These are not just flat open areas. There's all kinds of terrain on here. This particular one, LFT3, is separated right down the middle by a, now is that an elevation or is that a depression?
It is a cañada. A cañada is a level -1 cañada.
Cañada.
And my son tried to get me to pronounce it correctly because he's good at Spanish.
Oh, he did.
But I looked it up and now I forget what it meant. But it was he saw this in a battle in the Chaco Wars, this valley-ish running through the whole length of the board. And so he designed this valley, the entire length of the map board. It could represent a very long level 1 hill if you want to imagine it as a level 1 hill. So it has other unique terrain on it that we'll get to in our terrain time segment. That's a beauty with
beauty.
It's, yeah, as Jeff's saying, it's just the colors wonderful and detail is sharp on these.
Yeah.
Good job.
Maps like, terrain like you haven't seen before, and maps like we haven't seen before. So these are great. Are we going to go through these one at a time?
Yeah, well,
okay.
Sure. LFT4.
Mm-hmm.
This map can represent various farmlands, and the same thought is apparent here. The rugged terrain with a couple of isolated settlements. There's a small 3-hex settlement that can easily be used as a walled military outpost.
Right here.
Mm-hmm. Or a single family farm. And at the other end of the map is a very small 3-hex village with 2 orchard hexes. So again, these are maps that can be used for anything. So people who love designing scenarios, maybe there's been an action that you're thinking, oh, that would really fit.
Yeah, and I like these. They look like dried up.
Yeah,
I suppose these are dried up.
It's just the regular gully.
Gully. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's just so.
Yeah, so it's a combination of like some of the regular terrain, like gully rules.
Yeah.
Instead of wadi.
And some of them have steep elevation changes on them. Like if you look at them, see, here you can look in your.
Yeah. Oh, cliff. You mean hex X3?
Yes.
Yeah. Cliff, the dark serrated edge.
I can't seem to find it with my finger, but in any case. So that's a cliff, huh? Okay.
Yeah, just a regular cliff.
Right.
It's just got serrated edge. The arc's a little bit different. So yeah, those are all the cliff sides. You can't go up and down those. Still gully.
Gully. Okay.
Looking at 5.
Map 5.
Mm-hmm. The intention of 5 is again a small village, but with a walled building that could be a South American church, government building, or a North African mosque. Look at that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Nice. Little town around it with smaller buildings. LFT6.
LFT6.
Steve writes, this board was to satisfy my boredom at the plain, flat, uninteresting desert maps in ASL. Much of North Africa had hill-type terrain along the coastal plains.
Yes.
And also, as the desert approached, the Atlas Mountains in Northwest Africa. So what is that, Jeff? We're looking at a hill.
A very big hill.
Yeah, with 3 levels. And there's 2 hill segments. With
a
little valley in there. Oh, I see it's on a little one on the side. Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's a great desert map with a hill. For the next one,
I think the area around Tobruk was
more like that.
Terrain like this.
Yeah.
LFT7.
Well, this came about when he says we, and I forget who helped do these. Tom Repetti. That's right, Tom Repetti. So they looked at a hillside village for LFT6, and after seeing it without a village, they liked that it was just as easy to do both as maps instead of an overlay. So it is similar to the previous map with the hill, and now it has a village on it.
Very cool.
Big village there,
Very
right?
cool.
All set in the mountains. That reminds me too of like a Italy. Where was it that Patton and the British guy
Came on.
Oh, you're getting old when you can't name Montgomery, right? General Montgomery.
Yeah. Oh,
And Patton
Casino, Monte Casino, or
No, it was in Italy. This was before they got up into Italy. That first Sicily.
Sicily.
Yeah, a lot of little mountainside villages,
Yes.
like Greek looking and
Yes.
stuff like that.
Very beautiful, and you think I would love to live there someday, but then you walk down those hills, and you got to walk back up to go home.
Mm-hmm. That's how they stay in shape. What you got, map?
Map 8.
8 is a creation of famed map maker Tom Repetti. We decided to have another hill map.
Gorgeous, really nice quality.
Smaller hills, several sections of smaller hills.
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, probably 3 hills. Mountains, I guess, level 3 on 2 of them.
Cliffs, brush.
Yep.
Etc.
And then looking at 9.
Nothing worse than a etc.
Go ahead and open that up and pull it farther back, Jeff, because we can see that central. There you go. That one, look at that beauty. All that central town in there. So again, Tom created this. He says he saw a village map in Tom's TR map display and asked him if he could publish it. It has unique features: a plaza, a town fountain, cactus patches, cactus hedges, also a small depression, as well as farms, hillocks, and a church mosque. Fantastic. Look at all that.
And I think right here in Hex, looks like 7-Eleven is a 7-Eleven.
A convenience store.
Yeah.
Well, that's excellent.
Yeah.
I can get my big gulp there.
Yes, that's right.
LFT10.
LFT10. Now this one is kind of unique compared to the rest because one whole side is the familiar green that we're so used to, so that you can use this against other maps in ASL and create your own scenarios that are on the edge of deserts.
They're recommending 2 uses, perhaps, that in conjunction with LFT's Seacoast map, you have a normal coastline transitioning into the desert in a 3-map setup. Anyone who's seen the ramparts of Colorado has seen where plains become mountains almost instantly in this map between any of the many hill boards available, and a desert board allows for that kind of transition.
Yep. Very gorgeous.
And so,
now, if only they could tell us a little about the terrain.
The specific hexes.
Oh.
Yeah, there's some special ones that it is.
Hello, boys and girls. It's terrain time.
Terrain time. Chapter AD, Arid Desert. There's a chapter in the magazine. It is written by Steve Swan and Robert Hammond of, I went ahead and bought it, Hasmo.
Oh, yes. Right.
So, even though I can't remember the names of everything, we have the Hasmo packs, Jeff. I bought them myself. We can get onto those probably 5 shows from now by the time.
That'd be good. Something to look forward to. Something else to look forward to, I should say.
Yes. So this is broken down as a rule set. So chapter F.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Arid, going with the desert rules, perhaps. When you play anything with these boards, all chapter F rules are in effect, except modified herein. If there's a conflict between the Arid Desert rules and the regular chapter F, guess which takes precedence on these boards?
The Arid rules.
Mm-hmm. And so, LFT3, we saw the La Cañada, which is the glen. That's what it means. It's written here.
Oh, okay.
It's either a half level like a deer or a full level like a valley. and it's considered to be a valley if undefined by SSR. That's the way you're supposed to use that now. And then they have boards 6 and 7.
Well, there's edges here
Which
that are cliff.
They don't add anything in. Yep, probably regular cliff rules.
So but
Yeah,
it can't be half level and be a cliff. Can
You
it?
can, yes, you can't
Oh,
climb.
you can.
Well, half level cliff. Now that's a good thought.
That's what was.
Yes.
You can.
Yep, you can't climb out of it there.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
In or out. You're no movement over that.
Okay.
Too steep.
All right. Thanks
That's
for
all.
the reminder. Yep.
Yeah. And then they mentioned things we already mentioned. I'll cut this out. Okay, ready for the for some reason they're looking at board 10, the green one. Yeah, maybe keep them in order because they're gonna
okay.
jump around with examples.
Yep.
So then looking here at the green hexes, they note that they are considered temperate. Yep. If it's a green colored, temperate colored hex, then regardless of other types of terrain, it is considered a temperate hex. So the rules for the regular game apply. It looks like woods. It looks like brush.
And so they are.
Yep. Yep.
Woods and brush.
Right.
Yes.
Starts to look very familiar.
Yep. Okay.
There is the hex. Right there, you have it. We can see it. So it's got the mix of it's the Arid Desert hex. So it looks kind of like it's got the boulders and the scrub all together. Oh, and Jeff's showing hex S2. Oh, yeah. What do you think that is, Jeff?
Well, it's next to a church, so I'm going to say it's a graveyard, just a very, very old graveyard. It kind of looks, well, mausoleums and stuff. It looks different.
Yes.
They just look different than the European ones.
There's the Kleinschmidt Mausoleum.
There it is.
There. Yeah. Or I was thinking like in Greece, they have the above ground graves.
Yes, they do.
Kind of tomb things. Yes. Okay. They suggest olive grove rules, regular olive groves, palm trees. SSR may declare an orchard hex as a palm tree. There's dense palm trees. So you could say by the rule that in a dense palm tree, only fully tracked vehicles can enter or change the vehicle covered arc in a Arid Desert dense palm tree hex without the use of a road or trail break. And it has a bog check, so that would be new. Cactus patches, LFT 9. These show the cactus patches. There are a lot of large ones here on this board 9. They're treated as regular cactus patches. One cactus patch on this board has a path running through it.
This one.
That's the one.
This one that I'm showing right now, if you're watching.
And then also there's the brown and green hedges on that board. Those are cactus hedges. If you slide it over a little.
Okay, so yeah.
And here we see cactus hedges.
So it's adjacent to a cactus
patch there.
Patch.
And across from it's a wall, but these look like some scraggly brown and green hedges.
Yeah.
So they are the cactus hedges rule.
Yeah, I would think that's hard to go through.
The briar patch.
Yeah. Especially if you're wearing shorts.
Yeah, and they show that's rule B 9.7. Kind of forgot that was in there.
Yeah, we should, for British that wore shorts a lot in North Africa, they would not be going through there.
The woods rules for these boards they're all light woods.
Okay.
And they actually, they're light woods. That's just the rule. And then there's some vineyard hexes, like on LFT 9 again. Okay, so here we see a bunch of the vineyards. Oh, yeah, look, they got kind of like rows of knobby shapes.
Yeah.
Instead of just grain, plowed fields that we saw on some other boards. And a special rule in this game or in the AD board is that grain is always treated as if a plowed field for movement purposes. a grain hex is never broken terrain. So they're saying just think of thick grain. So it costs more to move
Like
through.
spaghetti. Oh, wait a minute. That's not grain. Thick grain.
It's a grain product.
It is.
Is it a byproduct of a grain field?
It's possibly.
Spaghetti, like
Yeah, possibly. We could say it is.
So
who's going to challenge us?
Grain becomes thick grain hex during the months of September and October, and then can be treated as grain, except it's got a +2 hindrance and the 2 movement costs for infantry cav. Yeah. Oh, and it's route and rally terrain. It's that thick.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then there are combination hexes. They explain those, a crag bush, et cetera, et cetera. Crag Hamada. And then there is that we already looked at, Jeff. It is a mosque temple. There's a single hex building made to be designated as being either a mosque or a temple. That would always be considered a stone building and it may never be fortified. A single hex, that would be sacrilegious, I think. Yeah, there's another one there. And so that, just would have to be, it could have a minaret tower, rule AD 3.31, treat it as a steeple location, but 2 levels higher. It's a minaret.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, right.
It's like way up there.
Yeah.
Shaft. There's a shaft location between the base of the mosque and the minaret tower. The shaft is treated as a minaret tower location, but has a line of sight only to the base level of the. Yeah, you can only see up and down in the shaft part.
Okay.
Yep. It has some stacking rules for that too.
I'm sure.
And arid debris.
Lots of that.
Okay, here, W8 we see the arid debris. It's inherent terrain. It's concealment terrain. It's a hindrance to same level line of sight +1. Has a +1 TEM, similar to other terrain. Infantry expend 1 movement factor. Cost terrain to enter it. Only fully tracked can enter it, et cetera, et cetera. It tells you what happens if rubble falls on it or shell holes put into the arid debris, or a flame would get rid of it. You can clear it as if it's fallen rubble. It seems expensive for that, and there's a +1 to a sighting task check by an aerial unit against. You can kind of hide a little bit in the debris.
Okay.
Wonder what that really represents, but the Oasis well next to that hex, W7 there.
Yep.
We see the Oasis well. There are 3 hexes in LFT9 that are arid. Oh no, I'm sorry. The well has a +1 TEM and +2 hindrance to same level line of sight. It's ambush and rally terrain. Huh. And maybe it's just cool being by the water. You're gonna rally
maybe.
better.
Yeah.
And there's some restrictions for horse-drawn and motor vehicles. Only 1, it looks like, and on the guns being placed in there. Can't put a fortification in there.
But you can put a rubber duck in there.
You can, and it would usually float.
It would float.
Okay, and on this board 9, we'll find 3 hexes that are arid plaza hexes. So, an
very
arid
cool
plaza, it's treated as a wide city boulevard, but it's dirt. So you could put minefields in it, I guess, and stuff.
And there's a little pool next to it.
Oh, that is a fountain in hex N4. The normal stacking limit for this hex is 2 squad equivalents. There are no rooftops in this hex. Only 1 horse-drawn or motor vehicle can fit in there. Got some similar restrictions.
That's very cool.
No fortifications in a fountain hex.
Very cool. And cooling.
Oh, and you can't bypass the hex sides, certain hex sides, as you can tell by looking.
Yeah.
Then they do have some rules, a 83.62. An oasis is treated as a shallow stream for all purposes. A pond overlay adjacent to an orchard hex would be a oasis. So you can make your own oasis too. Rule 4.41, arid rooftops. It's treated as a rooftop, except as modified herein. There's an inherent stairwell that leads to the rooftop location. An arid rooftop location is considered a building location for victory conditions. That's different. Is a TEM like a hedge.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And it is concealment terrain up there.
That makes sense.
Similar rules for the rooftops. And broken terrain is in effect only by SSR. It has some modifications here in the rules. Broken ground rules.
Let's go back to the rooftops.
Yes.
So is that only for buildings where there is one building in the hex? Because so many of these hexes are multiple buildings.
You should be able to kind of tell they're flat.
Well, like if we look at this, it doesn't matter either way.
That's a good one to look at. See how a bunch look like they're flat and some look like they have pointy roofs. So it says a building on an AD board and a desert colored hex, including overlays with buildings in which the overlay is considered to contain desert or colored based terrain, is an arid building. An arid building has an arid rooftop.
Well, a lot of these look like they're flat rooftops. So which building are you in?
I guess it's just the hex. So you would just say you can use the rooftop and ignore the individual depictions.
All right.
So the depictions are kind of cool.
Yeah, very cool.
They really have that look of the Middle Eastern style buildings with the flat roofs.
Yeah. These maps make me think of Google Earth, and on Google Earth how you can go down to street level view.
Yeah.
These maps make me want to see a street level view. I think that would be really cool.
Yep, absolutely. There are these things called high walls, and they're only by special scenario rule. And these walls are considered a level 1 line of sight obstacle and a cost 2 movement factors and the cost of terrain for infantry.
Okay.
Only a fully tracked AFV may attempt to breach a high wall with half of its movement points and gets a bog check at +3.
Yikes.
Then you get a breach in it, et cetera, et cetera. No direct fire. Okay. As you guess, you cannot shoot through it, the high wall. No direct fire between ground level locations.
Unless you breach the wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And no wall advantage. So
wall advantage.
I've seen this in the Desert Storm battles and Fallujah and all that stuff. I've seen high walls.
Yes.
Americans running along. You don't have to duck. So now you got a rule for that. High walls. And that wraps up the article by Robert Hammond and Steve Swan.
Very nice.
Excellent new stuff to use.
Really great. Go to boundingfire.com and order that LFT number 15. And then you can have these maps in your very own home.
You can. So that'll wrap it up. Next time we'll look at the articles in LFT 15 briefly and the scenario, some of the scenarios.
Something to look forward to for mid-October. Coming up on Halloween. We don't know if we may take a little Halloween bits into the next show.
Probably.
Yeah.
You were saying you were feeling like dressing up this year?
Yeah, I'm feeling like it. Not sure what I'm going to be.
Not just for the show?
Not just for the show.
Are you trick-or-treating then yourself?
No.
Okay.
No.
I would start to worry about you.
Yes. No.
I would like to go. Is it okay to go trick-or-treating again when you're older, like just once for old time's sake?
Well, you just tell them you have kids, you have grandkids.
And they're sick at home.
Like, where are the grandkids? Oh, they're sick.
Oh, yeah.
They're really, really sick.
And then why are you wearing that costume?
Yeah. Well, we were going to go. They dropped out at the last minute and they asked me to come to your house because it's the best house and you have the best treats.
You have the large size candy bars.
Yeah.
All right, folks, get in your contest entry.
Yes.
And remember to
roll low
and rally well,
but not when you're playing us. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.